In his visit to San Diego yesterday, Governor Jerry Brown commended San Diegans for reaching state-mandated water cuts. But he warned the water saved here may soon be needed to fight wildfires. Joining me with an update and the next steps is my guest, Jason Foster, Director of Public Outreach and Conservation for San Diego County's Water Authority. And Jason, we met the conservation goals here in San Diego County for June, but there's actually better news for July.
Yes, we just have numbers in for the month of July, and it looks like our region saved a little bit more than 30% compared to the baseline from 2 years ago. So that shows an increased performance by our region in saving water, which is very good news.
Sure, and also from the 26% that we actually did in June as well, right?
That's right.
It's up as we keep going. Now, some San Diego water districts actually did not reach their water conservation goals, and I understand the state has a plan to levy fines against districts like that. But will the local districts here be fined?
We don't think so at this time. The state board has been most interested in trying to make sure that they can get the education and get the water savings rather than resorting to fines right away. So our local agencies that are getting to their targets are still meeting with state board regulators to make sure that they're putting forth a good faith effort. So we don't anticipate any fines right now, but it's going to be important for all of our agencies to continue to work hard to reach the state mandated targets moving forward.
And despite that, as you mentioned, 30% is a high level of water conservation. Do we know how and how people are actually accomplishing this?
Well, I think to start with, people are doing a great job saving water. They're paying attention to the message to abide by the local water use restrictions that are out there. They're pursuing water conservation programs. They're taking the shorter showers. They're limiting their lawn watering. But we also got a boost in the month of July from some of the record rainfall from the tropical storm that came through. So that gave us a little boost as well. But it's going to be important for our region to keep up the water conservation through the rest of the summer months. If we get back to hotter, drier weather, this target's going to be in place until, February of 2016. Sure. So we need to keep up conservation moving forward.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that. So February 16, these emergency mandate requirements will go away, or that's when they expire, I should say. So what can we expect for the coming year?
It's still a little unclear what's going to happen next year. The governor has hinted that there could be adjustments to the emergency regulations come February, but I think a lot of that's going to depend on if we continue to perform and meet the state mandated savings targets. It also could be related to El Nino. If we get El Nino with a lot of precipitation and we can recharge a lot of our reservoirs and suppress our demands, that may affect the regulations moving forward. But I think regardless of what happens, conservation is still going to be an important thing for our region to pursue in 2016 and beyond. We just have to make water use efficiency a way of life in San Diego.
How do water agencies actually determine if people are complying, for instance, if they're complying with when to water, when not to water, and things like that?
There's a couple of ways they do it. Some agencies have patrols that go out and observe things in the field to see if people are complying. They also respond to water waste complaints that they hear from members of the public. They can also monitor the flows of their water system to see if the daily flow of water through their system kind of matches the irrigation patterns they want to see through their water use restrictions as well. So there's a couple of different things that they can do.
Well, despite recent conservation success and good success here, water rates will be going up in the districts and water districts in San Diego County. That can be discouraging to people. So how do you explain that water rates are going up even though people are conserving?
Well, public water districts have fixed costs that they need to safely and reliably run their system. And they try to keep their rates as low as possible so that they minimize the burden on their ratepayers. But when you have a sudden reduction in water sales due to conservation, it puts that upward pressure on the rates to make sure that they can have the money that they need to run a safe and reliable water system. But in the long term, water use efficiency does depress or at least moderates the need for rate increases because it delays and defers the need to invest in additional infrastructure to supply our region with that water.
I see. Now, I just want to switch gears here just for the moment here as we wrap up. A lot of people have seen the national coverage of the toxic spill in Colorado's Animas River, turning that water orange. Is there any concern that that toxic water could be headed towards San Diego?
Well, a safe and reliable water supply is the mission of the San Diego County Water Authority. And since about 60% of our water comes from the Colorado River, we've been watching that mine spill situation very, very closely. But the bottom line is, we don't anticipate any adverse impacts to our water supply from this incident. It's very far away. It's more than 800 miles away, and it's a vast river system. And we talked to the operations folks, not just at the Water Authority, but up and down in the basin. And the expectation is that any contaminants from this spill would be at below detectable levels before it even got to the intake system from the river.
All right, Jason Foster, thanks so much for the update.
Thank you.